Ag Life, presented by ADM Lloydminster.
Hello again and welcome to our agriculture show, Ag Life. I am Gerard Lampow, and yes, we are on the air now for the last 6 months, so thanks for your support and do keep your ideas coming, all right? Now, on the menu, tackling rural crime with the technology. Plus, we look at other factors keeping canola prices soft, and do you have your premises ID? But first, between the China canola impasse and the carbon tax, producers are facing an uphill battle ahead of seeding season. Let's find out the latest on the carbon front.
We may have trouble dealing with the government of China, but we're certainly hoping that we have better luck getting the government of Canada.
The Agricultural Producers Association of Saskatchewan is calling for more offsets on the carbon tax as they argue it will adversely affect farmers. Given estimated increases to rail and trucking, heating and electricity, their preliminary numbers put the additional costs to producers at $2 per acre.
We've asked the federal government for some of these numbers. We haven't received them. That's why we're putting them out there. We'd like them to prove us wrong. We haven't seen any numbers from the federal government. We're assuming they have put those numbers forward, but we haven't been able to see them yet. So let's have those numbers, and let's talk about increasing our exemptions. Farm fuel exemption is one thing, but there's a lot of direct and indirect costs that producers are going to bear here. And
APAS also wants the federal government to give them credit for the carbon sequestration which ag producers contribute through their operations.
We are world leaders in sequestration. It's something that is measurable. We have good science to back it. The federal government doesn't want to give us credit for it, be it on a carbon pricing system or an offset program. I think the government of Saskatchewan is looking towards that, but we haven't had a chance to implement it because the federal government has stepped in over Saskatchewan in this jurisdiction. So
APAS has intervenor status in the carbon court case.
It's before the court. It's a very complicated constitutional matter. The court is doing their due diligence. There was a number of cases that were mentioned during the process.
Even with fuel exemptions, APAS will continue to press the federal government on sequestration and quantifying indirect costs. But the China canola battle is still in the fray.
Canola on one side and carbon on the other. We have a number of trade issues that are external to Canada.
And still to come, canola prices remain soft for other reasons apart from the Chinese impasse. Do stay with us.
This segment of Ag Life is brought to you by Webb's Machinery. Webb's Machinery, your New Holland dealer in Vermilion, Vegreville, and Lamont.
Welcome back. Since the fall, canola prices have had other factors keeping prices depressed. I find out why producers need to temper expectations this spring.
Everybody is actively trying to look for other markets. It's been trading in a 10 to 10.75 range. We've had some $11 targets taken out.
The headache with China aside, the market for canola remains soft. Grain buyer with ADM Larry Lundquist weighs in.
As buyers of canola, we would prefer the price to be $11 or $12 because it's a lot easier for us to buy $11, $12 canola than it is $9 or $10 canola. Farmers don't. It doesn't meet their cost of production, so they don't really want to grow it. They don't want to sell it at that.
Lundquist points to the African swine fever that's decimating China's hogs.
They've slaughtered more hogs since the 1st of January than the United States produces in a whole year. So that reduces the need for meal. Now, the meal that they feed the hogs is generally soy meal, not canola meal, but China is very adept at transferring back and forth between different products.
Lundquist looks at other factors keeping prices down, like the carryout in soybeans in the U.S. being 18% higher than previous, and that for Canada is about 3 million metric tons.
Plus, Brazil, earlier on, back in December, they took 10 million metric tons out of the Brazilian production because of drought, and we got a boost in price over that. When it came harvest time, they discovered that all the beans were there. They put them all back in. The soybean hybrid soybean plants were a lot more elastic than they thought they were, and the drought didn't affect them.
A record harvest in Brazil makes for a glut of oil seeds, and farmers will have to temper expectations.
We're not going to see $11 maybe, but $10.50, $10.75. I think farmers are just going to have to watch and take advantage of any bump in the market and don't have unrealistic expectations.
Well, tracking criminals using video surveillance is more than just, say, setting up a trail cam for hunting. I meet a local security expert to get a handle on the technology.
Sends a chime to the house. For display purposes today, we have 8 cameras here set up.
Clay Hines is the Security and Commercial Electrical Manager for HSI Security based in Lloydminster. His company has come on stream in the last 3 years as communities tackle the need for greater security.
With this technology, with the cameras, we can also do intrusion detection, so we can set up an imaginary box that will sense a vehicle or a person coming into your yard, and then it'll send you a notification on your phone and a clip on the video of that person.
Rural crime is no respecter of persons. In fact, it can affect both commercially, residential, and even on the family farm. Now, what I'm holding here is called a fisheye camera. It can give you a 180-degree view. You can either put it on a wall or you can even mount it on the ceiling and get an entire bird's eye view of your premises.
Crime, they don't care who the victims are, right? People are looking to take advantage, and so it's important that you protect yourself and your family. And one of the best things you can do is just have that early warning that someone's either coming into your house or snooping around your yard.
Systems like these offer that cushion of time to alert police. On the high end, they could be expensive, but insurance companies are offering rebates. Hines speaks about their pricing.
We're looking at about $57.95 on a 4-year term. If you buy the contract out, you can buy it out for just around $1,400, and then it's $39.99 a month for monitoring.
Well, keeping track of the exact spot where you left your cow has a few added incentives. Let's learn about premises ID. Tracing livestock and knowing who owns which cow is a key tool that producers are being encouraged to access. Livestock specialist Jennifer Hayden, who is based in North Battleford, is urging producers to get their premises identification.
It's basically linking a geographic location to a group of livestock, any type of livestock. So whether that's cattle, sheep, horses, alpacas, you name it, if it's livestock, we're going to want a PID to go with it.
Tracking the origin of an illness and managing its containment is just one aspect.
It's important in terms of disease. So if we've got a disease outbreak or some other type of health hazard that's occurring, we want to be able to get producers in the know pretty quickly. So with that database, it's easy to do that.
It's also beneficial in the event of natural disasters.
Also for natural risk, things like flood or wildfires, tornadoes, something like that we can get the word out quickly. Was used pretty extensively in BC during the wildfires and just made things a lot easier in terms of tracking animals and knowing who to contact.
Hayden says being able to identify the origin of livestock is an added bonus along with a plan to move them to safety. Premises ID is also needed to access funding programs.
So if they're wanting to apply for the CAP funding or the Canadian Agricultural Partnership, you'll need to have a PID if you do have livestock for that. There's other sort of in-house services that we'll do like water testing or things like that where we do ask that you have a PID in order to take part in that service.
Producers are being invited to sign up for their PID or as well call the Ag Knowledge Center.
You can either go online directly and fill out the form online. You can go online and print out a form and fill it out. You can go into a regional office, have someone help you fill it out or pick up the form there. You can also phone in either to a regional office or to the Ag Knowledge Center, and they'll just do them over the phone as well.
So there's another reason for you to get your PID. Of course, you need that in order to access the CAP funding programs. But when we come back, there's a ray of sunshine. Are you ready for the canola event of the summer? That story after the break. With all of the heavy news surrounding canola, it's time to find something to get excited about. The snow is melting, spring is here, and before you know it, seed will be in the ground and it will be time for Canola Palooza. Yep, courtesy Alberta Canola, let's circle the date for the 5th annual Trek to Lacombe.
The best part about Canola Palooza would be the social aspect of it, meeting new people, connecting with people you haven't perhaps seen for a year.
I love how hands-on everything is. I like that they seed some of the crops at different stages so that we can learn about the way we should be doing things versus how we might be doing things.
I'd say the thing I liked the most about Canola Palooza was just the diversity. There's a lot of different booths here and a lot of people who know quite a bit about their respective fields. So if you're curious about a particular topic, they're going to have an answer for you.
Really cool to see the transport hives that they had, showing us all the different bugs that are around and how they can affect your crop.
For example, we were stopped over at the insects, the entomology booth. There's a lady there in horticulture. She knows a ton about flowers and natural predators. I think that's great. That's one of the things here in Alberta that we need more of.
Obviously lots of stuff to learn. I learned some more about flea beetles today and learned more about insects, which has been an issue for me this year.
It's different than your average field school or crop tour that you've been where you get on the wagon and you go plot to plot and listen to the researcher. It's very self-directed and provides a lot more information.
I really enjoyed looking at the Agribot. I think that's a fantastic invention.
Lots of machinery demonstrations, there's food trucks. There's lots of people from the industry that we get to catch up with and chat with.
And to see this many experts out to talk about what they're passionate about is really, really awesome.
This is our first year here with Team Alberta, and Team Alberta is the 4 crop commissions: Alberta Canola, Alberta Wheat, Alberta Barley, and Alberta Pulse. We've got the policy staff here to talk about the policy work that we do, advancing policy on behalf of the crop sector. If there's any kind of question you have in canola and any of our other major crops, wheat, barley, and pulses, there's people here to answer your questions.
It's just really amazing the amount of different things they've managed to pack into one little festival here. Even just to meet people is really, really important, because it's not just the fact that there are experts here, it's that you get to connect with a lot of different people. So you have a question, you always know who to call.
The big takeaway is just the social interaction with, like I say, old friends and new friends.
Definitely come out, especially if you haven't been before.
I love Canola Palooza.
A great day with everybody who's in the agriculture industry.
Canola Palooza is a great time.
Did you circle the date? June 26th. And just to tease you some more, hope you noticed the Agribot in there. Of course, that's Brian Tischler's invention. He's from Manville, and of course, we met him last July. Now, this next segment comes to us from Lakeland College, leading learning since 1913. Let's have a peek inside the new animal science health clinic that's at the Vermilion campus.
Today was such a fun day for us, and we're really proud. Today was the grand opening of our animal health clinic. We're very appreciative of the support financially from both the government of Alberta and the government of Canada in supporting this clinic. Well, first of all, it's much needed expanded space, and of course, additional equipment and state-of-the-art equipment that we've never had. You know, some divers are really important to us. It allows our students to practice on models before going to live animals. This building's going to allow us to expand our program, which the industry has such a need for technicians, and we have wait lists in terms of students.
The increased capacity is going to be huge. We always hear from the industry that there's a need for more veterinary technologists to be graduated so that they can be utilized, and also that they have the student learning concept here, that they're going to hit the ground running, be able to participate and be involved and contribute to the practice right after they graduate.
We have our old technology that we had in our old clinic and our new technology that we got here in our new clinic. So we're able to broaden our skills. So when we get out into practice, we have such a larger skill set. Lakeland has the best facilities, the best hands-on learning that you could get here in Canada. I also like that it was close to home, and because our classes are so small, you become really close with your class and your instructors, so you're not just a number, you're an actual person, and I like that.
Well, you bring your cows and your calves in from the pasture and you want to get a quiet wean. Students at Lakeland College study this to learn the outcomes. Let's have a look.
So today we gathered our heifer calves, we brought them back from pasture. We weighed them all and we did a randomized order to do a quiet wean. So we split our calves, our heifer calves in half. Half of them would have got a nose clip today and half of them didn't. So these calves are going to be heading back out to the pasture to see their mums. So everyone's still going to be with their mother, but half are going to be drinking milk, so they might be a little bit upset. Next week we're planning on weaning the calves after we preg check. So everything will be brought back into these pens and they'll be put on feed starting next week. So we're kind of looking at to see if we can get any benefits out of a quiet wean. An animal that had a nose clip in, are they going to be quicker to go to the bunk come weaning time? Are they going to be slower? Are they going to be getting sick less? Kind of just getting some numbers for our herd, I guess. Calves that did have the tags in their nose looked on an average to gain 9 pounds over that week, whereas calves without the tags only gained 6 pounds. So we saw quite a bit of a difference, a 3 pound average difference. We're just trying to see if it's going to be benefiting us to be able to put these quiet weans in.
And believe you me, you want to have a quiet wean with those heifer calves. Well, still to come, we find out what a producer says our food is really missing. Do stay with us.
Ag Life, presented by ADM Lloydminster.
An ag producer is saying the food we consume is missing an important element. I learn about the rationale for regenerative agriculture.
From the consumer end, nutrient-dense food, right? That's what we're lacking.
Steve Kenyon runs about 1,200 head of cattle on about 3,000 acres of land near Busby, Alberta. He says the job of producers is to build the soil. He practices regenerative agriculture, building from the ground up. The reason? To allow the soil to have the biodiversity that it requires to produce more nutritious food for consumers.
If a strawberry is grown in soil that has been mined of all the nutrients, right? We put back in agriculture, we put back in nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium and sulfur, but we don't worry about any of the other ones, very rarely.
In regenerative agriculture, Kenyon seeks to get the nutrient cycle to the point where the soil can support the needs of the plant.
So what we're trying to do with regenerative agriculture is to get all the nutrients cycling so that there is a access for the plants to get every mineral that they need. And then the food that we get out of that is nutrient dense.
Kenyon values food according to its nutrient density.
I'm actually a proponent to being able to buy and sell food according to its nutrient density. Regenerative agriculture is building nutrient-dense food.
Kenyon speaks about the nutrient-dense process at his ranch.
We raise grass-fed beef, we raise pasture-raised pork, and we're working with another farm that in conjunction with them, they also raise pasture-raised turkeys and pasture-raised chickens. The big nutrient that is missing in most of those that you buy in a grocery store nowadays is omega-3 fatty acids.
The so-called good fatty acids. Kenyon says by not having those animals on pasture, particularly when they are finished, means they are missing omega-3s, which are produced by the chloroplast in plants.
So we need the animals to be eating that. Omega-3 fatty acids are an essential amino acid that we cannot, as humans, produce.
Well, it's time now to roll our events calendar. Remember, if you want to get in on this part of the show, we've got a new email address, so get accustomed to it, glampow@stingray.com. Let's have a look at some upcoming events. Well, that's a wrap on this edition of Ag Life. And of course, we haven't gotten to 6 months without your help. And that means we need comments and story ideas. We love to hear from you. You can email us tv-news@stingray.com. You can simply send us mail at 502650 at Street, Lloydminster, Alberta, T9V 1P3. Follow us on Facebook, also Primetime Local News on Twitter and Instagram, and of course our email address. So there you have it. I'm Gerard Lampow, yours in agriculture. Take care.